Creating and being in our creativity and making our work, our art, or our craft won't necessarily heal us from a broken heart or from what's hard or difficult, but it does use those pains and those griefs and those difficulties, and it dignifies them and it transforms them. I'd like to tell you a little bit about what I mean, but welcome back to my channel. First and foremost, thank you to my new subscribers. Mwah! I love it that I'm getting new subscribers. I am so happy that you are here for fiber and inspiration and healing and creativity and stories, because I have lots and lots of those. And thank you to all of my many old subscribers. Please give the thumbs up, subscribe, hit that notification bell, and go on over to thesamanthawilde.com, because I'm Sam from thesamanthawilde.com, and I'd love to have you over there to see everything that I do. Now, onward and upward, check out my tree in formation. I am so just, this is really getting me really good. This one is just so gratifying. I had a vision of a textile tree, and I was going to weave the background with fabric. This is an upcycled material. So this is a fabric that was cut. It was given to me because it could no longer be used. It had been in storage for a long time. A woman had tie-dyed it. This is repurposed yarn. So this was on its way to the landfill, and also same with this green one. And then I'm going to tell you the story of the fibers of this tree. But let me go back to the beginning to what I was saying, which is really important. So creating and creativity, I talk about that, and I talk about how significant it is and how important it is for our healing, particularly being someone who can get in touch with our intuition as part of the practice of creating, and how healing that is. But I want to clarify that making things doesn't necessarily mend a broken heart. And that's important, isn't it? Because if you head over and you do a little weaving or you sew something and you still got a broken heart and the world is still a mess, right? But what it can do is, in a way, almost more powerful than just healing a broken heart. Because in our creating and our making, if we bring to our making and our creating and our art everything that we have and that we are, if we take our joyfulness, if we take our grief and our sorrow, I mean, sometimes what happens is people only make when they feel happy, or they only make when they feel sad and down in the dumps. And then you are only making from a certain place. What we want, as one does with weaving, particularly the kind of weaving I do, is we want to take all the different strands and weave them in. I have found that in making and in creating and in weaving and in writing, I can use everything. And that is a bedrock for me, and also a foundational and significant perspective that can change how we both live and create. So let's think about this from a very practical perspective, using everything. I was in the middle of making the background for this tree while we were driving to New York City to pick up a used spinning wheel that I was buying. And it just so happened that the woman who sold me the used spinning wheel is a fiber artist, and she had made this beautiful art yarn. Oh my gosh, she gifted it to me. She said, I have a gift for you. Now this is right up my alley. It couldn't be more up my alley if, I don't know, I had handpicked the alley. I loved it. Didn't think about it at the time because I didn't think about using it for this piece, I should say, because I was already planning to make a textile tree. In other words, I was going to collage with bits of fabric onto the woven background. I feel like the sun is a little bit messing up how this looks. Anyway, it's not done. You can tell that. So anyhow, I didn't even think about this until after I was sitting there and I was looking at it. Now this is a beautiful scrap art yarn. So she has spun this from, and I'll link to her, Faune Yerby, because she is on Instagram. I will link to her below because she's the one who made this, but she made it from scraps. Now, that's what I'm talking about. I'm talking about making things from scraps on a metaphoric level. Using scraps, metaphorically speaking now, dignifies them. It takes the crap, the brokenness, the bits, the hurts, the hardships of our life, and it gives them purpose, usefulness, and dignity in the same way that using scraps or pieces or upcycled fiber or bits and things on their way to the landfill dignifies them and gives them purpose and meaning in our art. But as it is in art, so in life. And while it's very important to use upcycled materials in your art, it's even more important to find for yourself that you can dignify some of the griefs and the hardship of your life by bringing them and weaving them in, so to speak, or painting them in, or clay making them in, or crafting them in, or baking them in, whatever you're doing, or living them in, weaving them into your actual life. What happens is the same thing that happens with those scraps. Those scraps are just bits and pieces. Now they become a yarn. The yarn becomes anything you want it to be. I sat down, I was looking at the yarn, and then I was doing a little bit of work on the background, and then I went, oh, it's the tree. This yarn is the tree. I'm just going to be honest here. And those of you who know me know I have 6 kiddos. Don't get a lot of sleep. Sometimes get a little emotional. But it filled me with emotion when I realized that I was given the tree. While I had been weaving in the car, we were in the car for like 7 hours that day, working on this piece, and this tree emerged. Now I wanted the tree to be multicolors. I wanted the tree to be textural. This is a different yarn down here. I wanted the tree to be just not brown, but very alive and very powerful. And there it was, this magical moment. And there was some heaviness on my heart actually in some of this weaving. And that's what I brought to this, creating this tree of life, this tree of all the many seasons. So think about bringing your grief or your joy, if you only create from a place of grief, your joy and everything in between, and seeing how you can transmute it, transform it. We think about the practice of creativity as alchemical process. Things, and by that I mean not just material substances, but mind, heart, spirit, is shifted and changed in the practice of creativity, particularly and potently so when we allow for that showering of magic that arises with intuitive creation. I don't know what I'm creating. I thought I was making a textile tree, but I'm actually making a tree out of this art yarn. And for this project, for all my projects, using what's there, what I have, however imperfect it may seem, allows for usefulness, purposefulness, and dignity to those parts that we perceive of. And by parts, I mean parts of ourselves, as well as parts of yarn and fabric and so on. It gives it that sense that it deserves. Your grief, your sadness, your sorrow, your hardships, they aren't for nothing. They can become something new and something beautiful. And while making a tree is really nice, making ourselves into people who know that in our hearts and live from that is the real gift. Okay, that's my little message for this week. Please thumbs up, subscribe, share this with a friend. Hey, leave me a comment. I don't ever think I get comments. And don't forget to go to The Samantha Wilde. I still have many beautiful pieces, woven scarves and tapestries available for the holiday. Till next time, I hope you have a beautiful day.